Hello everyone, welcome back to another VTOL VR tutorial. I got a few questions in the comments about the TGP, so I thought I'd make a quick tutorial on how to use it and some of the shortcuts you can use to make your life easier. The TGP is in every airframe you'll fly in VTOL VR, so it's definitely something you want to have a good handle on. For this video I'm in the FA-26B, and to access your TGP, you'll click this button down here. This is what you'll see first. You want to turn it on with the power button. If you don't have it equipped, you do have to equip this manually. It's in the very top right in the equipment screen. If you don't have it equipped, you'll hit this button and nothing will happen. If you do have it equipped, it'll turn on. The first thing you'll notice here is that it's all grayscale. You can adjust that with the sensor. You can make it nighttime, and I promise that looks better when it's night, or color, which can be sometimes useful depending on what you're trying to look at. Typically, day is most useful during the day. Any target you can possibly aim at will shine a bright white against the background. You'll also notice this kind of potato-shaped half circle around. That's just indicative of the actual range at which you can move around the camera. So if you select SOI here, or sensor of interest, you can grab the right thumbstick, and using your thumb, you can push it left or right, or up or down, or in any direction. Generally speaking, you can keep an eye on this to see where you are in your radius, depending on where you're pointing at. It's good to keep an eye on it, but I typically leave it off and I deal with this thing visually. But generally speaking, this is useful to see that I can go back to my 7 o'clock or my kind of 3:30, 4 o'clock right here, and that's behind me to my left or my right. Up, you can go pretty much straight vertical, and down, you can go pretty much all the way down. If you want to, you can turn it off by pressing the limb button. You can also zoom in and point at targets. I'll point at these planes here, and it will automatically snap to the target. You can zoom in and see it. When you have a target selected, it'll give you an IFF foe indicator, and if it's friendly, it'll give you a friendly indicator. It will also tell you how far away you are from what you're pointing at. Right now, it says point right here because I'm pointing at an object and it's tracking. If I move off, it shifts to area. Now, if I arm here, and I fire an optical fire and forget missile at this plane, it does work. You can fire at moving targets like this. But just because you can fire at something doesn't mean you should. I'll fire this missile here, and you'll see that they usually just miss. If you don't know where your cursor is, and you just want to bring it back to forward, you press this button and it snaps to being directly in front of you. In addition to being able to track it on the screen, if you move it around in front of you, you'll see it on your HUD. It's this green square. You move it around, you can move around left, right. The further zoomed out you are, the faster it moves around. So if I zoom all the way out, you'll see it moves much faster. If I zoom in, it moves slower because it's looking at a smaller area. So generally speaking, if you want to move quickly, you want to zoom all the way out. Well, there's actually even a faster way to move, and that is by switching to head mode. If you switch to head mode, this is what you see. It moves around the TGP just with my head, giving you a more interesting view just on your HUD. So what you can do is you can go over here, point at an object, hit head again, and it will just leave it right where you were pointing. So if I'm over there off to the left here, and I want to quickly snap back in front, or go and target something to my right, I could just look over there, go ahead, and then press the button again, and leave it right there. A shortcut to accessing head mode is just by pushing it on the right thumbstick. You can zoom in and out by just moving your stick forward and back, thumbstick. You can see it here. You can take it into head mode, you can look at a spot, you can zoom in and get a better view just right there on your HUD. You can exit head mode with a shortcut by just pressing in on the right thumbstick. So you're flying around, you got your target over off to the side, you look over there at the target, you hold down the thumbstick, it snaps to it, you zoom in, you find what you want to aim at, you press it once and it leaves it there. If you want to keep your head tracking on but you don't want to see the giant kind of TGP overlay, you can press the HMD button right here and it will do just that. You still can move around the square with your head, but the overlay is gone. And one thing I want to point out, that unlike the radar can in bore sight mode, just looking at the target will not allow you to automatically snap onto it. So let me zoom in here and try to stabilize my head so you guys can see. But if I just kind of hold this here, you'll see that it stays with my head, does not snap to the target. However, if I get out of head mode, so I will zoom out a bit, look at it, and press in the thumbstick to stop, it posits it there, and it will snap to it if you're close enough. Otherwise, you could just move it around, and it'll snap to it. One of the primary features of the TGP is the ability to acquire GPS targets. What you can do is you can point at any point. In this case, I'll choose this target. You can point at the ground, at the sky, anything, but I'm going to choose this target, and press GPS send. Now, if I go over here to my GPS, you'll see that that target is now here. I'll do it again, send, you have another one. Go ahead and delete that target. Now what you can also do, say you move away from it and you want to reacquire that GPS target. Well, you can take any GPS target that you gather or is sent to you from an ally, you select it and press GPS A, and your TGP will automatically snap to it. You can also snap to waypoints. So I have this objective here. I'll select waypoint. To enable it, you'll see that it's just down there in front of me. If I press the waypoint button here, it'll snap to it. The TGP does not integrate with the radar. You can't use the TGP point at a target and lock onto it, but you can use it with the jammer if you have it equipped. What you go over here is you choose a jammer module and select TGP. So now the TGP is the source. If you hit start, that is now jamming wherever the TGP is pointing. We can see that here if we go to our ARAD. That's pointing down there. Now the interesting is if you move your cursor around, zoom out so it moves faster, you can move the jammer around. It will jam whatever you're pointing at. It will jam a plane, the ground, the sky, whatever you're pointing at. An interesting thing that goes with that is if you go to head mode, it moves with your head. So if I go to the right, to the left, it moves around with it. Pretty cool. In addition to forward mode, you also have target mode, which is just the mode you're in as you're pointing around, and pip mode if you're using a capable weapon. In this case, pip points this at wherever your weapon is aiming. In this case, I've got the guns out. Now I can zoom in, and I can see that my plane is lined up to this tank here. So I'm within range. I'm going to line up here. Grab my bullets. Can use this with all sorts of different things to attack ground munitions. Pretty useful. Now I've switched to night to give you a better idea of what things look like. So we're zoomed all the way out. This is what everything looks like on the day sensor. Move around, you really can't see much. You can kind of make out a coastline there, but if you switch to night, you can really see. You can see everything, and the enemies up ahead shine like a light. Color really doesn't do much for us here, so at night you gotta use night. In addition, at night, if you turn mark on and then go into night vision, you can actually see your laser in-game as you move it around. Your friendlies and enemies can see it too. TGP is also really useful when it comes to trying to land on a carrier. So right now I can select to it and zoom in and see that I'm way too far to the left. So now I'll veer to the right and zoom out a little bit. And now I can get lined up a lot more easily. And that's a basic overview of the TGP. If you want to know more about how to use the TGP for different weapons, I recommend you watch my video on that, link in the description. And as always, if I've forgotten anything or didn't cover something as in-depth as you'd like, please leave a comment. And if you have any questions or anything you'd like me to cover in a future video, leave a comment too. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.